This video is all about buying audio gear in the low budget category, which I consider to be around $2,000. At this price range, you will have more inputs, speakers instead of headphones, although you can still use headphones. I do recommend that still if you can't afford acoustic treatment. But at this price range, we are getting into a little bit better quality audio gear, and you can do more with it. Let's start by talking about the speakers that I would recommend. On the screen, I have some JBL LSR 308 active studio monitors, a pair of them for $500. With any budget range, I think monitoring is where you should spend most of your money, because if what you're hearing isn't accurate, and by accurate I mean something that will translate to the most amount of playback systems, then you may as well not even bother recording or mixing. The JBLs are well-known speakers that will get you there. JBL, when it comes to their mixing speakers, they like to have flat references. So between these and the PreSonus Aris E8s, I would recommend either of those. And perhaps most importantly, I would recommend either the IK Multimedia ARC system or SonarWorks reference calibration software. Those two programs, and really they're a combination of a calibration microphone and software via a plugin. They will help you make better mixes. I've been using ARC for, it's been 6 years now, and I will never go back. And I've been told SonarWorks calibration may be even better. Hopefully one day I'll be able to demo that for myself, but I can certainly recommend ARC. Now, as far as interfaces are concerned, we have the Focusrite Scarlett 18i8. With this interface, you get 4 microphone preamps that also double as instrument preamps, although I don't really think a lot of people will really need instrument preamps, 4 of them at the same time. I've never run into that situation, but it's good to have, I guess. And then you also get 4 line inputs, MIDI in and out, plus for expanding your studio, which you will have to do, you get 10 more digital inputs via ADAT and or SPDIF. If you're going to be producing electronic music, and that includes rap or pop music, and you don't need a lot of analog inputs on your interface, then I would highly recommend this. The Audient ID14 for, right now, I believe it's going for $300. Yes, there we go. So $300, you get 2 preamps. You get 2 converters that are awesome. You get one of those preamps includes a instrument input, which is quite nice. JFET is definitely a high quality piece of electronics. And you also get 8 channels of ADAT if you ever want to expand. So all in all, you get a USB interface that lets you have up to 10 inputs. And I'll tell you what, if this thing was available, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, I think we would have got it. I mean, this is a beautiful little interface. It just came out this past year, I believe. And the reviews on it are really, really good. Now, if you want to spend a little bit more money, they have a bigger interface called the ID22. I'm not going to show it on screen. You can look that up yourself. But the Audient ID22 adds send and return input and output. And you also get a few other things that will allow for more expansion later on down the road. But I'll tell you what, for a little home studio, if all you need it for is mostly just vocals and maybe one other input, this is great. It doesn't include MIDI, but you get a really high quality source and you can't go wrong with it. Okay, back to the shopping cart. And by the way, Sweetwater does not sponsor this channel. I have no affiliation with them, but I do think that their 24 months no interest financing is awesome if you have good credit. They also have their 3 payment system. So if you're starting a home studio, a 0 interest, 2 years to pay things off, that's great. That's definitely try to get credit through them if you can do it. Overall, they're a good company. I've bought, I think, a couple things from them. Never had any problems with them, and they can help you out if you want to know that what I'm recommending to you is good stuff. You can ask them, and they'll probably say, "Yep." Okay, so. Microphones. We now have more microphones to choose from because we have a bigger budget. First of all, I'm going to say the Shure SM57. Get that. It is great for recording snare drums. You can record vocals. You can record electric guitar, kick drum, all kinds of stuff with this microphone. I mean, this is a microphone you're not going to get rid of. It just can be used on so many different sources, and it sounds good. Next up, and by the way, this list of microphones, I chose these because the idea is that you're going to be able to record a variety of different sources for what you have. So next up, we have the AKG D112. This is the Mark II version. I believe it has a flexible stand adapter or something. I think that's like the only difference between this and the original version. I also own this microphone along with the Shure SM57, and I've got nothing but good results from it. Obviously, right on there it says kick drum and bass instrument dynamic mic, and really that's what it's good for, because you don't want to, although you can use a Shure SM57 for kick drum recordings, I've been told that it can blow out the coil and mess up the way it sounds. I don't know to what extent, or if you could even break the microphone, but the AKG D112 is designed for huge sound pressure levels where you can stick it inside of a kick drum or right next to some kind of speaker, like a bass speaker, and you're not gonna worry about damaging it from sound waves. This also works with different instruments. There's more if you read the product description, but I think between these two, you can record a kick drum and a snare for a drum set, or, like I said, bass guitar, cabinets, and, overall you're going to have a lot of goodness to go around. Although I do recommend recording bass guitar direct and then using plugins, but there's currently a debate going on the Real Home Recording channel over that. I'm of the opinion that unless you have a killer setup, then the best thing to do is to record direct as a home studio, as a very low budget home studio, but your mileage may vary. The last 2 microphones I'm going to recommend are a matched pair of Rode NT5 small diaphragm condenser microphones. Now, why is that? 2 reasons. Again, with 4 inputs, we can now record a decent drum kit. These work great for drum overheads. I personally use Shure SM81s, but these aren't too shabby either. And they're cheaper than Shure SM81s, so they fall within the $2,000 budget range. And you can upgrade these later on through a website called Octava Mod. Michael Jolly modified one of my microphones, and it sounds fantastic. So this is giving you the ability to expand your quality later on down the road. Not that the NT5s sound bad stock, but you want to leave that option open. These are also great for recording acoustic guitars in stereo if you want. And this is a good hi-hat microphone. You can record clean electric guitar. The Shure SM57 is great for distorted guitar, but an NT5 might be better if you're recording something like a Fender Twin Reverb. It's always good to have a condenser microphone, and these are great. Oh, you can also use them to record vocals, of course. All right, moving on to our accessories now. You got to get yourself a MIDI cable if you're going to record some MIDI instruments. You got to get 4 mic cables because you have 4 microphones, obviously. And I recommend the Proco brand. They're cheap, but great quality. If you go cheaper than Proco, it could be hit or miss down the road. Now these are patch cables. Now these will be used for your speakers, and I recommend 1/4" TRS male to male. These are 5 feet long, so they should be long enough to go from your interface to your speakers, no problem. And I recommend TRS over TS because TRS are balanced. There's less noise, less room for things to get messed up. You can use TS. I've used TS myself, but if you want to make sure your noise is kept to a minimum and there's also build quality issues, TRS is the way to go. And if I would have known about TRS, we would have got some at Studio B when it was being built originally. I also recommend an SPL meter. These come in great for setting your speakers to a good volume level. And they have the super important C-weighted slow response mode. And this is a solid little SPL meter. It also helps for matching your stereo balance with pink noise. All kinds of great things you can do with this thing. I also recommend a Stedman. By the way, I do own this. I own the Stedman Pro Screen XL. This is probably the best pop filter I've ever used. It redirects the stream of air downwards as opposed to just minimizing it with your typical mesh pop filter. This actually redirects the wind so you get no pop issues when you're recording vocals. You can get the smaller version if $70 is going to kill your budget. There's a smaller version of this, but I have the XL version and I highly recommend it. You know, it works with small microphones or large microphones, and it's easy to position. The gooseneck, it's a very, very good accessory to have. And then we also have our microphone stands. I recommend you get 3 boom stands. You can buy these used off of eBay as well. Brand new, obviously, they're going to be in better condition. And then also for your kick drum, you want to have a smaller stand and also a boom arm. And with that, we come under budget. Now let's talk about software. Oh, by the way, let me go back to the microphones. If for some reason you don't need to record a drum set or acoustic guitar, you just need something for vocals, then I would recommend a Shure SM7B, which will run you $350, or a Sennheiser MD421, which I believe is $400. I might be wrong about that, but I think it's more expensive than the SM7B. Either way, those 2 microphones, you're actually hearing me through a Shure SM7B right now. Of course, I'm putting a lot of processing through it, but regardless, you're hearing me through a Shure SM7B. It's my favorite voiceover microphone. I sound good on it. A lot of people sound great on this microphone. Smooth vocals. I love it. I've been using it for years and highly recommend it. Now, let's talk about software. Kakos Reaper, and yes, it is a goofy name, but Kakos Reaper is what I recommend if you're producing mostly acoustic type music. However, if you are producing, well, actually, even if you get what I'm about to recommend, you should still use Reaper because I believe the cheaper version of FL Studio, which is what I recommend, used to be called Fruity Loops. FL Studio, the $99 version, cannot record directly, so you would need something to record with. I would also recommend, if you don't want to go the Fruity Loops option, Sample Tank 3 from IK Multimedia is a good library of sounds to record with. I'd also recommend getting in on the Slate Digital subscription. It's $20 a month and you get a ton of great plugins. For reverb, I would get Valhalla Reverb. I believe they offer a delay plugin, but the one I use is called Echo Boy from Sound Toys, which isn't too much either. But you can get delay plugins cheaper, which I'm about to get to. Klanghelm is another good brand. They have free and cheap plugins. Tokyo Dawn Labs, they have a lot of free plugins and also more expensive ones that give you more options. And then finally, if you're not going to mess with all those plugins, which you may end up doing anyway, but if you're really focused on recording electronic music and you have a bigger budget for more things, because you're not buying microphones and mic cables, I would highly recommend Native Instruments Complete. That runs about $500, and I think it's like 85 gigabytes of all kinds of things. So, and maybe get a controller to go with your Native Instruments Complete. Check into that. I've used Native Instruments plugins, and I've got good results from them. I haven't reused them extensively, so I can't recommend them. But I just looking at what you get a lot. I mean, really, 80-something gigabytes. You're going to be busy for a month if all you do is mess with Complete. 20 every waking hour for a month, you could be messing with Complete and probably still not use everything they offer. It's really a great system to get started with, and you're not going to be missing out on too much. The other thing I would recommend, although this might be breaking the budget at this point, is Omnisphere. And I know I'm saying that wrong. I said it wrong before. Omnisphere. I can't say it. Whatever. I'll spell it out on the screen or something. I'm linking to all this stuff in the video description, by the way. But this is what I would get for $2,000. Having a slightly bigger budget than the ultra low budget category gets you a lot more stuff, a lot more bang for buck. When I found out about that Audient interface, I was honestly, if I record a big production where I only need 2 tracks of audio, I think I might buy that thing. $300 for 2 good preamps and 2 great converters. I almost couldn't believe my eyes. I thought that the price was a lie, and I thought that the features were a lie, and no, not at all. And like I said, you can expand that later on with ADAT. The Focusrite Scarlett 18i8. For $350. This is what I paid for my Fast Track Ultra, and you get all this stuff for that price. I'm jealous of you guys. I really am. I'm really jealous. So anyway, this has been Adam for RealHomeRecording.com. Leave some suggestions below for other newbie audio engineers if you want. Other than that, this is what I would buy if I had $2,000 and I was starting out. See ya.